All right, everybody, buckle up, because today we are diving deep
Ooh, gee.
into the psychology of procrastination.
I know.
I know, we've all been there, right?
Yep.
That looming deadline, that growing to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
and that sneaky feeling that maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
we're just a tad bit lazy.
Oh, come on. You're going to hit us with that old chestnut.
And what if I told you that procrastination is more than just,
More than just laziness.
Yeah, exactly. More than just laziness.
Okay, I am intrigued. Tell me more.
We're about to uncover the real reasons why we put things off. And trust me,
Okay.
it's way more fascinating than you might think.
All right, let's do this.
And to guide us on this journey, we have an amazing book suggested by you, our awesome viewers.
Oh, fantastic.
It's called Procrastination: Why You Do It, What to Do About It Now,
Kitschy title.
by Jane B. Burka and Lenora M. Yuen.
Oh, I've heard good things about this one.
Yeah. And these authors, they know their stuff. They've been working with procrastinators for over 30 years, so
Wow, that's a lot of procrastination.
they've seen it all. And speaking of seeing it all, if you're loving this deep dive,
Yeah.
don't forget to hit that subscribe button to catch all our future episodes.
Gotta stay up to date.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
One of the most compelling arguments this book makes is that procrastination,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really about laziness.
Okay.
It's actually a coping mechanism for dealing with
Wait for it.
fear.
Oh. Fear? Really?
Yeah, fear. And not those, like, obvious run-of-the-mill fears.
Like spiders and heights?
Exactly. We're talking about deep-seated anxieties, the kind that might be lurking beneath the surface.
Mhm. Subconscious fears. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, we might not even be consciously aware of them.
Sneaky little things.
So, spill the beans. What kind of fears are we talking about here?
Okay, so the book breaks it down into 4 main categories.
Okay.
First up, and I think this one's super relatable,
Mm-hmm.
it's the fear of failure.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right. I mean, who hasn't felt that pressure to succeed?
Right.
To be perfect, to nail it every single time.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
But for some people, that pressure, it's
Yeah.
so intense.
Yeah.
It becomes paralyzing.
It just frees up.
Totally. And it feels easier to just avoid the task altogether
Right.
than to risk, falling short.
And facing that judgment.
Exactly. The criticism, the disappointment, it's all too much.
It's like, why even bother?
Yep, that's the fear talking.
I get that. I definitely get that.
So fear of failure, check.
Check. All right, what's next on the fear list?
Okay, so this one might seem a little counterintuitive,
Okay.
but it's the fear of success.
Wait, what? Fear of success.
Yeah.
But isn't success like the goal?
I know, right? It sounds strange.
It does.
But think about it. Success, it can be pretty daunting.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
It often brings change, new responsibilities, and a whole lot of expectations from others.
True, true.
And for some people, the thought of all that,
Oh, yeah.
it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like, be careful what you wish for,
Yeah. So procrastination becomes this way to avoid those potential challenges.
Precisely. It's a way to stay in your comfort zone, even if it means staying stuck.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is, isn't it? It's like this whole other side of success that we don't often talk about.
Definitely food for thought.
And if you're hungry for more deep dives like this,
Yes.
don't forget to subscribe to our channel for a full feast of knowledge.
Okay, so 2 fears down, 2 to go.
All right, bring on the fear.
What's next on the agenda?
Fear number 3 is all about connection.
Connection.
Yeah, or the lack thereof. It's the fear of separation.
Oh, interesting.
This one really resonates with folks who struggle with being alone
Okay.
or taking those steps toward independence.
Oh, I see.
Procrastination, in this case, it's a way to maintain that sense of connection.
Even if it's not the healthiest kind of connection.
Exactly. It might be through needing help from others or even
Oh, wow.
seeking negative attention.
That's a powerful insight.
It is, isn't it? It's like procrastination keeps them tethered to others.
Even if it's in a way that's not really serving them.
Exactly. It's a complex dance between fear and connection.
So 3 down.
1 to go.
Hmm.
What's the final fear on our list?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Okay, so this last one delves into the realm of relationships.
Ooh, juicy.
It's the fear of intimacy.
Ah, that makes sense.
Right. For people who struggle with vulnerability
Mhm.
or getting too close to others,
Yep.
procrastination becomes this shield, a way to create distance.
Oh, like emotional protection.
Exactly. It's a defense mechanism to avoid the potential hurt.
Yeah, the rejection that can come with intimacy.
Right. So there you have it, the 4 horsemen of procrastination: fear.
Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of separation, and fear of intimacy.
Bingo.
It's amazing to think that all this is going on beneath the surface, right?
I know. It's like we think we're just being lazy,
Yeah.
but really there's this whole emotional landscape at play.
Right. It's not just a conscious choice to avoid responsibility. It's like a subconscious response to these deeper anxieties.
Precisely. And that's what makes this book so insightful.
Yeah,
It helps us understand the why behind the what.
totally. So we've explored the fear factor, but there's another key element of procrastination,
Ooh, what's that?
the way procrastinators experience time.
Time. What about it?
Get ready for a mind-bending journey into the time warp effect.
Okay, I'm buckling up.
Because the authors of this book,
Yeah.
they shed light on something really interesting.
Okay.
The distinction between what they call subjective time,
Subjective time.
which is our internal personal sense of time,
Got it.
versus clock time, which is like the external objective measure of time.
The one we can't escape.
Exactly. The one that rules our lives.
All right, I see where you're going with this.
Procrastinators. We often get caught in this battle between these two types of time.
A time war.
Exactly. It's like in our minds, we might have plenty of time.
Ah, that subjective time playing tricks on us.
Exactly. But the reality of the clock ticking away,
Yeah, that pesky clock time.
that gets ignored.
Until it's too late.
Exactly. And then it's panic mode.
The deadline's breathing down our necks.
It's like we're living in our own little time bubble, but eventually that bubble bursts.
And reality comes crashing down.
Oh, yeah.
So how do we break free from this time warp?
Well, that's where the what to do about it part of the book comes in.
Okay, give me the goods.
But first, a quick reminder.
Yes.
Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any of our future deep dives.
Stay tuned, folks.
Okay, so back to the time warp. The book uses this really powerful analogy to illustrate how procrastinators experience time.
Okay, I love a good analogy.
They call it infant time.
Infant time, like baby time.
Yep, exactly. Think about how babies experience discomfort.
Okay, so pure, unadulterated misery.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's all-consuming.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's never going to end.
Because for them, it might as well not be.
Right. Because they haven't developed that sense of time passing yet.
No concept of minutes, hours, or, oh, this too shall pass.
Exactly. And the authors suggest that procrastinators, we often revert back to this infant time mindset.
So we become big babies.
Well, sort of.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like the discomfort of facing a task,
Yeah,
it feels so overwhelming, so immediate.
it's like a giant wave about to crash on you.
Exactly. That it just eclipses any realistic perception of future consequences.
You're just trying to survive the present moment.
Exactly. It's about seeking that immediate relief, even if it means paying the price later.
The classic buy now, pay later scheme of procrastination.
It's like the future doesn't even exist.
It's all about right here, right now.
Exactly. And that, my friend, is the procrastination time warp in action.
Mind officially bent.
I told you it was trippy, but don't worry, we'll help you untangle it all.
Phew, glad to hear it.
In our upcoming parts, we're going to delve deeper into the brain science of procrastination.
Ooh, brain stuff. My favorite.
Explore the different types of procrastinators.
Types. Intriguing.
And most importantly, arm you with actionable strategies to break free from this procrastination time warp once and for all.
I'm ready to be armed and dangerous. Procrastination, beware.
That's the spirit. But for now, we'll leave you with this thought.
All right, hit me with it.
Think about that feeling of relief you get when you finally pay a bill you've been putting off for weeks.
Okay, yeah, I know that feeling.
It's like this weight lifted off your shoulders. Right?
Totally. Even though you know there might be late fees.
Exactly. But in that moment, it's all about escaping that immediate discomfort,
Pure bliss.
even if it costs you in the long run.
The irony of procrastination.
And that, my friend, is the procrastination time warp in a nutshell.
Time for me to go untangle my brain now.
That's a great idea. And while you're untangling, don't forget to hit that subscribe button
Subscribe, folks. Subscribe.
so you can join us for the next leg of our procrastination deep dive.
It's going to be epic.
Stay tuned.
Okay, ready for part 2 of our procrastination deep dive.
Bring it on. I'm all
Yeah.
ears.
All right, so last time we left off talking about the procrastination time warp.
Right, that whole subjective time versus clock time thing.
Exactly. And how we as procrastinators can get stuck in this like distorted sense of time.
Yeah, it's like our internal clock is on a permanent snooze button.
Totally. But today, we're going to shift gears a bit.
Ooh, exciting. Where are we headed?
We're going to explore the fascinating world of the brain.
The brain. What does that have to do with procrastination?
Well, it turns out that our brains play a huge role in shaping our behavior.
Okay, that makes sense.
And procrastination is no exception. In fact,
Yeah.
the book we're diving into, it delves into some really cool insights about the brain's influence on procrastination.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
All right, so first up, we have this thing called executive function.
Executive function. Sounds important.
It is. Think of it like the CEO of your brain.
The big boss.
Exactly. It's responsible for all those higher level mental processes.
Like what?
Well, things like planning, organizing, initiating tasks, and managing impulses.
Oh, wow. So basically all the things that procrastinators struggle with.
Yep, pretty much. And research shows that people who struggle with procrastination, they often have some challenges with their executive function.
So it's not just a matter of willpower then.
Exactly. It's like their brain's control center might be a little,
Staffed.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Now, difficulties with executive function, they're often linked to conditions like ADD.
Right, where people have trouble focusing and staying on task.
Exactly. But even if you don't have a diagnosed condition, you might just find these executive function skills more challenging than others.
Okay, so that's executive function. What else does the book tell us about the brain and procrastination?
All right, so buckle up because this next concept is super interesting.
I'm ready.
It's called the plastic paradox.
Plastic paradox. Sounds kind of ominous.
It is, in a way, but also really cool. So, you know how our brains are incredibly adaptable?
Yeah, like we can learn new things and change our habits.
Exactly. That's neuroplasticity in action. But here's the paradox.
Yeah.
That same plasticity that allows us to learn and grow can also work against us.
How so?
Well, the more we engage in a behavior, any behavior, the deeper those neural pathways become.
So it's like carving a groove into a piece of wood.
Exactly. The more you run that tool over the same path, the deeper that groove gets.
And harder to change course.
Exactly. So every time you give in to the urge to procrastinate, you're actually strengthening those neural pathways associated with avoidance and delay.
It's like our brains are creatures of habit, even when those habits aren't serving us well.
Totally. It's like those well-worn paths in a forest, you know?
Yeah.
You naturally gravitate towards them even if there might be a more scenic route to take.
So procrastination becomes our brain's default mode, the path of least resistance.
Bingo. It's the comfy couch of our minds.
But a couch that's ultimately holding us back.
Oh, absolutely. But don't worry, there's hope.
There is. Tell me more.
The good news is that neuroplasticity is a two-way street.
Meaning
We can rewire those neural pathways and create new, healthier habits.
even when it comes to procrastination.
Especially when it comes to procrastination. It takes effort, it takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's absolutely possible to break free from those old patterns.
That's encouraging to hear.
Right. Our brains are way more powerful than we often give them credit for.
It's like we have this incredible potential for change locked away inside our skulls.
Exactly. Now, speaking of change, there's one more crucial piece of the brain procrastination puzzle.
Ooh, I'm all ears. What is it?
Stress.
Stress. How does stress tie into all of this?
Well, it turns out that chronic stress, that just lingers and never seems to let up.
Yeah, the kind that makes you want to crawl into bed and hide from the world.
Exactly. That kind of stress, it can actually damage the very structures in our brains that are responsible for emotional regulation and memory.
Wait, so stress is literally changing the physical structure of our brains.
It can, yeah. It's pretty wild.
That's pretty scary, to be honest.
It is, yeah. And here's why it's so relevant to procrastination.
Okay, I'm listening.
Those impaired brain structures, the ones responsible for emotional regulation, they're the very ones we need to manage the anxiety and discomfort that often trigger procrastination in the first place.
Ah, I see. So it's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly. Stress leads to procrastination, which leads to more stress, and so on.
And our poor brains are caught in the crossfire.
Not a good situation to be in. But the good news is that there are things we can do to manage stress.
Right, like mindfulness, exercise, getting enough sleep.
All those good things. And by managing stress, we can help protect our brains and break free from that procrastination cycle.
So it's not just about willpower or time management, it's about taking care of our brains.
Exactly. It's about giving our brains the support they need to function at their best.
And when our brains are happy, we're happy.
Right. Less stress, less procrastination, more productivity, more joy.
Sounds like a winning formula to me.
It definitely is. Now, before we move on to the strategies for overcoming procrastination.
Yeah, the what to do about it part.
Exactly. I think it's important to talk about the different ways procrastination shows up.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What do you mean?
Well, the book highlights the fact that there are different types of procrastinators.
Types. Like different species of procrastinators.
Well, not quite species, but different patterns and tendencies.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Exactly. Understanding your personal procrastination style is key to finding strategies that actually work for you.
So it's like figuring out your learning style or your personality type.
Yeah, exactly. It's about understanding your strengths and weaknesses so you can tailor your approach.
Okay, I'm all for personalized solutions. So tell me more about these different procrastination types.
All right, so first up, we have the classic perfectionist.
Ah, the perfectionist, always striving for the impossible.
Exactly. And because of that, they'd rather avoid a task altogether than risk producing something that falls short of their sky-high standards.
It's like they're paralyzed by the fear of not being perfect.
Precisely. They get so caught up in the details that they never actually get started.
Been there, done that. What other types are there?
Okay, so next we have the rebel.
The rebel?
Mhm.
Sounds intriguing.
Right. This is the person who's all about bucking authority and doing things their own way.
The you can't tell me what to do type.
Exactly. Rules, deadlines, external expectations, they just chafe against it all.
I could see how that rebellious spirit could fuel procrastination.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a badge of honor for them to resist the status quo.
Okay, so we have the perfectionist and the rebel. Any others?
Yep. We've got the fearful avoider.
Fearful avoider. That sounds like me on a Monday morning.
Right. This is the person who's often overwhelmed by anxiety and worry, and they use procrastination as a way to cope with those uncomfortable feelings.
So they avoid tasks that trigger those anxieties.
Exactly. The thought of facing a challenge or a potentially stressful situation is just too much to bear.
It's like they're trying to outrun their fears, but those fears just keep chasing them.
Totally. It's a self-defeating cycle, for sure.
Okay, 3 types down. Is there a 4th one?
Yep. Last but not least, we have the time traveler.
The time traveler. Sounds like someone who's always lost in thought.
Exactly. This is the person who struggles to stay grounded in the present moment.
So they're either dwelling on the past or fantasizing about the future.
Bingo. And because their mind is constantly elsewhere, it makes it really hard for them to focus on what needs to be done right now.
So they're not really procrastinating in the traditional sense. It's more like they're just not fully present.
Right. It's like their attention is scattered across different timelines.
Right. So we have the perfectionist, the rebel, the fearful avoider, and the time traveler.
The 4 horsemen of procrastination.
Each with their own unique challenges and motivations.
Exactly. So, dear listener, I encourage you to take a moment and think about which of these types resonates most with you.
Yeah. What are your procrastination patterns? What are your triggers?
Once you understand your own style, you can start to find strategies that really work for you.
It's like having a personalized procrastination playbook.
Exactly. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to delve into those strategies.
I can't wait. But for now, let's take a quick break.
Sounds good. Grab a snack, stretch your legs, and we'll be back soon with more procrastination-busting wisdom. All right, welcome back to the final part
The grand finale,
of our procrastination deep dive.
where we're finally going to arm ourselves with the tools and strategies
Oh, yes. The weapons of choice.
to defeat this procrastination monster once and for all.
It's time to fight back.
I'm pumped. So let's dive right in.
All right, let's do it. So in the last part, we
Uh-huh.
talked about the different types of procrastinator.
Right. The perfectionist, the rebel, the fearful avoider, and the time traveler.
Exactly. And how understanding your own personal procrastination style is key to finding solutions that actually work for you.
It's like knowing your enemy.
Right. So you can tailor your attack strategy.
Okay, so we know our enemy. We're ready for battle. What weapons do we have at our disposal?
Well, the good news is that the book we're using as our guide.
Procrastination. Why you do it, what to do about it now.
Exactly. It's packed with practical tips and strategies.
Awesome. Give me the goods.
Okay, so one of the most powerful strategies, and this one works for pretty much everyone,
Okay.
is setting SMART goals.
SMART goals. What does that even mean?
It's an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh, okay. So it's like, instead of saying,
I need to write a research paper.
yeah, which feels super overwhelming.
Exactly. You break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Like gather research articles, create an outline, write the introduction.
Exactly. By setting these smaller goals,
Hmm.
you reduce that initial feeling of overwhelm.
Right, because each step feels more doable
Exactly. And you create this sense of momentum.
because you're checking things off your list.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
each small win builds your confidence and keeps you moving forward.
So SMART goals, check.
Mm.
What else? What other procrastination-busting weapons do we have?
All right, so this next one is especially helpful for the perfectionists out there.
Oh, yeah, those folks get stuck in the details.
Exactly, the ones who are terrified of making a mistake.
So what's the antidote to perfectionism?
Embrace imperfection.
Wait, what? Embrace imperfection. But isn't the whole point to strive for excellence?
Well, yes and no. Striving for excellence is great, but perfectionism, it's a different beast altogether.
Okay, I'm listening.
Perfectionism, it sets the bar impossibly high.
Right, and then you feel like you can never reach it.
Exactly. And that leads to paralysis, avoidance, and ultimately procrastination.
So how do we embrace imperfection then?
By starting with a minimal acceptable goal.
A minimal acceptable goal.
Yeah. It's like the bare minimum you need to do to get the ball rolling.
So it's not about doing it perfectly, it's about doing it at all.
Exactly. It's about progress over perfection.
I like that. Progress over perfection.
It's a much healthier mindset for sure.
All right, so we've got SMART goals, we've got embracing imperfection. What else you got?
Okay, so this next one is super simple, but incredibly powerful.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Just start.
Just start. That's it.
Yep. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear. It often comes after you've already begun.
Ah, so it's like that Nike slogan, just do it.
Exactly. Just
Super.
set a timer, commit to focusing on the task for a short period.
Even if it's just for 5 minutes?
Even if it's just for 1 minute, the point is to break through that initial resistance.
Because once you get started, it's
Right.
often easier to keep going.
Exactly. Motion creates emotion.
I love that. Motion creates emotion.
Yeah.
So just start, even if it's for a tiny amount of time. Got it. What else?
Okay, so this next tip is all about creating an environment that supports your goals.
Okay, environment. What does that mean?
Well, think about it. Are you trying to work in a cluttered, chaotic space?
Oh yeah, my desk is a disaster zone.
Right. Or maybe you're surrounded by distractions like your phone or the TV.
Guilty as charged.
It's no wonder you're struggling to focus. So the key here is to minimize distractions.
Create a dedicated workspace.
Exactly. And schedule your most challenging tasks for your peak productivity times.
So like if you're a morning person, do your most important work in the morning.
Precisely. Set yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports focus and concentration.
It's like building a procrastination-proof bubble around yourself.
Exactly. Minimize the temptations, maximize the focus.
Okay, environment check. But what about those times when we're feeling really stuck?
Ah, yes. The dreaded procrastination rut.
It's like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink.
I know that feeling. But here's the thing. You don't have to go it alone.
Meaning,
Reach out for help.
oh, like ask a friend for advice.
Sure. Or talk to a family member, a therapist, a coach, anyone who can offer support and encouragement.
Because sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective to break through a mental block.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that you're not alone in this struggle.
It's like having a cheerleader in your corner rooting you on.
Exactly. We all need a little help sometimes.
So don't be afraid to ask for it.
Never be afraid to ask for help. It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
Okay, so we've got SMART goals. Embracing imperfection, just starting, managing our environment, and asking for help.
We're building quite the procrastination fighting arsenal.
We are. Is there anything else we need to add to our toolbox?
One more thing.
Okay, hit me with it.
Delegation.
Delegation, like passing the buck.
Well, sort of, but it's not about shirking responsibility. It's about being strategic with your time and energy.
Okay, I'm listening.
So the idea is to identify tasks that can be shared or outsourced.
Like if you're drowning in emails, maybe hire a virtual assistant to help manage your inbox.
Exactly. Or if you're not a design whiz, delegate that website redesign to a professional.
It's about freeing up your time and energy to focus on the things that only you can do.
Precisely. Delegation is a superpower, especially for those who tend to take on too much.
It's like recognizing that you don't have to be a superhero and do it all yourself.
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to assemble a team of superheroes to help you conquer those procrastination villains.
I love that analogy. Team superhero versus procrastination villains.
It's an epic battle, but with the right tools and strategies, we can emerge victorious.
So to recap, our procrastination fighting arsenal includes SMART goals, embracing imperfection, just starting, managing our environment, asking for help, and delegating.
We're armed and dangerous.
Ready to take on any procrastination challenge that comes our way.
Bring it on!
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
I agree. We've uncovered so much about the psychology of procrastination.
From the fear factor, to the time warp effect, to the brain science behind it all.
And we've armed ourselves with a whole arsenal of strategies to overcome it.
So, dear listener, as we wrap up this epic journey, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Imagine for a moment that you could wave a magic wand and eliminate all procrastination from your life.
Poof, gone.
What would be different? What goals would you achieve? What dreams would you pursue?
What would your life look like if procrastination no longer held you back?
It's a powerful question to ponder.
It is. It's about recognizing the true cost of procrastination.
And the incredible potential that lies on the other side.
It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, your life.
Exactly. So, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of procrastination.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and practical tools to help you break free from the tyranny of someday.
And remember, the journey to overcoming procrastination, it's an ongoing one.
It's about small steps, consistent effort, and a willingness to experiment and find what works best for you.
You got this.
If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the topics that matter most to you.
We've got a whole library of knowledge waiting for you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
See you in the next deep dive.